Welcome back to another episode of MDTV, proudly supported by MCA Suspension. MCA Suspension makes some of the best coilovers in the market. Initially, I had some budget coilovers, then MCA Pro Sports, then I moved over to the MCA Pro Comforts. But I ended up staying with the Pro Comforts because for everyday driving, it was just so much better. But I have found the limits of these coilovers on the street. They're significantly more soft compared to the Pro Sports. Over the bumps, they're absolutely perfect. On normal road, they're so comfortable, especially on longer trips as well. They ride so much better than stock. They handle so much better than stock. And despite not being as firm or as racy as the Pro Sport, the Pro Comforts still feel pretty sporty. Yeah, I don't drive fast in a straight line, but I do like to take my corners pretty hard, especially in the mountains. And that's where I found the limit of the Pro Comforts. Now, there is a huge step between the Pro Comfort and the Pro Sports, but I didn't really think that there was much of a problem with that. But MCA did, and they came out with a product to fill that gap or that middle ground between the Pro Comforts and the Pro Sports. It's called the Pro Streets. That's what I'm installing today. The Pro Streets are a little bit stiffer than the Pro Comforts. They're rated for more medium level spirited driving, still not rated for the track, but the dampers supposedly are a little bit stiffer with a stiffer spring rate, and that should reduce some of the body roll. Like I said, I've had no problems with the Pro Comforts. They've been so comfortable and so sporty, but this should reduce some of that body roll while still being pretty comfortable. As usual, these come very well packaged, and each coil or each strut comes in its own box. You get the information guide with all the lanyards probably in here, all the stickers, lanyard. They even have a air freshener now. Cool. Some information, some specific specs for your coilovers. Before I put these on the car though, let's go for a last driving impression on the Pro Comforts. So by choice, I've had the Pro Comforts in the car for the last 8 to 9 months, and I chose them over the Pro Sports because I thought that for general road use and light spirited driving, they were fine. The benefits of the Pro Comforts on the road far outweigh the benefits of the Pro Sports on the track and in the mountain. I thought that the Pro Sports were fine on the road, acceptable level of comfort, but compared to the Pro Comforts, it was pretty firm. I love the sportiness of the Pro Sports because it felt like you were always ready to go. And the Pro Comfort for regular road use and in the mountains, it was fine. But I have found the limit of the Pro Comforts. Where I was taking large turns or fast turns, or when I was smashing my car through the mountains, I could feel a lot of body roll. In my last video with the Pro Comforts, I said the body roll was fine because the body roll feels natural. And I still agree to that. Now you might be thinking I could just turn up the dampers, stiffen it up a little bit, and I tried to do that. The harder I turned the damping, it just made the compression and the rebound a little bit more harsh, but it didn't really affect the body roll. For all my testing with MCA coilovers, I used the same damping settings at the front and the rear, just so that it's fair. And I keep saying this, I haven't complained about the Pro Comforts. They've been so good. And now MCA have found a gap between the Pro Sports and the Pro Comforts, which I didn't even know existed. And they came up with a solution which I didn't even think they need. And taking the turns, even with the Pro Comforts, it feels very sporty. It doesn't feel anywhere near as racy as the Pro Sports, which is fine. It's not what they're designed to do. And another limitation that a lot of people may have is with the ride height of the Pro Comforts. Because the compression and the rebound is a lot more softer compared to the Pro Sports, it's recommended that there's a bit of a gap between the tire and the fender guard, so you don't get to lower your car as much. With the Pro Sports, you can tuck it into the guard. With the Pro Streets, the new Pro Streets, you're able to lower it to the level of the guard. The differences between the Pro Comforts and the Pro Sports are night and day. I'm really curious to see if I can actually feel the difference between the Pro Comforts, the Pro Streets, and the Pro Sports. If you don't ever intend on going to the racetrack, but still want like a really sporty drive, or still want to fang it a little bit through the mountains, then the Pro Comforts are for you. I have had a few of you guys watching message me about the Pro Streets, so I guess here it is. We'll go back to the driveway, put on the Pro Streets, and I'll give you a review after a month. This is not going to be an installation guide because there's so many of them on YouTube. I've also done an in-depth installation guide in my previous collaboration videos with MCA, so I'll put that on the banner up here, or this box up here that you can press to watch that. For jobs like these, it really sucks working by yourself because everything is just so dense and heavy. One trick I do use to remove the struts by myself is putting a jack underneath the lower control arm while I undo the bolts, then releasing it slowly so that it doesn't just flop and fall down. Another handy trick to keep your coilovers protected is to grab a set of MCA shock shields. Just look at how clean the struts are, even after 8 to 9 months of use. In the little pouch that you get some camber washers, a C-spanner, an Allen key, and also a new bolt with a spacer to go to the knuckle. MCA have just updated the contents of the information pack, and there's a lot of good information, including what to do with the spacer and some things to keep in mind when setting your ride height in camber. They've also got a great 3-year warranty program that covers track use as well, so make sure you're familiar with this policy. We're going to lower the car now. The back of the car is already pretty low. Even at stock height, the back of the car is really good. And I still want it to be practical, so I'm just going to leave it. The front though, looks a little bit like a monster truck. It's about 3 fingers, more than 3 fingers. I want to lower it down to maybe 1 finger, and it should look really good. MCA now include a lot of useful information on how to lower your car in the information pack, so make sure you read that and take that into consideration when you're lowering the car. So you got to measure the distance between there, and I want to lower it by 21 mils. You undo that grub screw, and remember we're lowering the car using that by lowering that and not moving up the base height. Big no-no. So you're going to undo that grub screw, and I want to lower it by 21 mils at the front. It's so easy to twist this because I've had the shock shields on. There's nothing stuck in between the threads, so it's so nice and smooth. If you can, grab a set of shock shields to protect your coilovers. Now the advantage to lowering your car by moving this instead of this is that when you lower your car using this method, you're also shortening the distance that the shock can travel up and down, which makes a lot of sense, because when you're lowering your car using that method, your car is physically lower. The distance that the pistons can travel inside the shock stays at the normal length. Right, so while your car has completely bottomed out, there's still room for the piston, or there's still room for the shock to compress even more if you ever get to that stage by using the base height method. Okay, after you do that, you can tighten that up. You don't need to tighten it too much, and that is all Gucci. Put the shock shields back on. Now I've had the Pro Streets for about approximately 2 months now. And the reason why it took so long for this video to come out, I wanted to drive it for a while before giving it a review, but also I wanted to take this on a road trip down to Mount Kosciuszko, the snowy mountains. It was perfect. I honestly didn't think I'd be able to tell the difference between the Pro Comforts and the Pro Streets and the Pro Sports, but my gosh, night and day difference between the 3 different series. And you can clearly feel the purpose of each set of coilover. And the Pro Streets, my god, it's the perfect blend between the Pro Comforts and the Pro Sports. I don't know how they did it. I first drove this on the recommended comfort settings from MCA. So that's 10 at the front, 10 at the rear, with the hardest setting being absolute 0. So you go to the hardest point and you click back 10 times for front and rear. And even at 10-10, the amount of body roll that was reduced compared to the Pro Comfort was significant. There's very little body roll even at 10 at the front and 10 at the rear. I don't understand how they do it. But the difference between this and the Pro Sport is that even though the body roll is reduced, it's not as stiff, or the valving and the compression and rebound is nowhere near as stiff as the Pro Sports. This still isn't rated for the track, but it is rated for medium to high level of spirited driving. The amount of body roll that has been reduced is so good. And like I said before, the Pro Sports, I feel like I was ready to race everyone and I couldn't have the moment of peace. The Pro Comforts, all the way on the other end of the spectrum, it's just peaceful all the time. The Pro Streets, again, I don't know how they did it, but the perfect blend between Pro Sports and Pro Comforts. I've driven this heaps. It's my daily driver. I've had no complaints. I filled up this car with 5 people, including myself, going on a 5-hour road trip, like a 5 hours one way down to the snowy mountains. We drove the whole weekend. We didn't have a single complaint. Well, other than the roads being crap, like the ride comfort and the handling of this car has been so good. Don't take it from me, take it from my cousins in the next clip. Matt, what do you think of the coilover suspension?
I think it's pretty good, honestly. Like, I had no issues with it. I think it's comfortable until we hit that fucking bridge.
It's a bit bumpy, but the performance isn't bad, hey?
Oh yeah, man, so fucking stable. Feel no body roll or anything.
What do you guys reckon at the back? How's the suspension?
Very good.
Comfortable? And here I'm going through my favorite private road. It's not completely smooth, but there are some nice bends. All right, let's go. downshift, accelerate through the corner. Beautiful, beautiful amounts of lean. No compromises to the handling. Over here again, lean, no brakes, accelerating. Here, downshift, brake a little bit, push through the corner, holding on so tight and so well. There is very minimal body roll and it is very acceptable. And like I said in the first video, a little body roll is fine because that's what helps the car feel natural. While we were on the drive down to the snow mountains, we almost hit 2 skippies. There were so many kangaroos. I've never seen that many kangaroos on my drive down to the snow mountains, but we had to react fast. The reduced body roll in this car made it so much more comfortable. We had so much confidence in the car when that was happening. I'll put in a clip here.
Oh, good dodge, good dodge.
For my kind of driving, and I gather most car enthusiasts looking for coilovers will have my kind of driving. You want significantly reduced body roll, you want some nice compression and rebound, you want it to be stiff, still comfortable, but you don't take it to the track very often. Well, if that's your criteria, I don't see the need for Pro Comforts anymore. The only time I would consider getting the Pro Comfort over the Pro Streets is if you don't like doing any spirited driving, or if you've got a wagon, or if you just like the car for its looks, you don't really like driving, you just want, a comfortable cruiser. Well, one, you're in the wrong car, and two, going with coilovers or coilovers in a sports car, you're not going to get that comfortable cruiser feel anyway. I think it would be very suitable for the wagon, the Levorg, but if you like spirited driving, you like the feel of a car tossing you through the corners, you like the feel of the high G-force going through the corners on the street, then the Pro Streets are definitely for you. And where does the Pro Sports fit in? If you do 3-4 track days a year, yeah, go for the Pro Sports. Otherwise, if you don't do any track days, then there's really no need for the Pro Sports. The Pro Streets will perform way beyond anything you ever need if you don't take it to the track. Now, I have lowered my car a lot more than what it was lowered on the Pro Comforts, just because I can. And because the compression is a lot more stiff compared to the Pro Comforts, it's not going to bottom out or it's not going to scrape the ground when I hit a bump or hit a pothole or something. Now on the performance setting, which is what has been recommended for the last 2 sets of coilovers that I've had, like for the same settings, this is the perfect sweet spot. I don't know how MCA have done it, but it is the perfect blend between comfort and performance. And on Facebook forums and Instagram, people always ask me, are MCA coilovers worth it? There are budget coilovers that are $1,200 cheaper than MCA, and they ask me if the extra $1,200, which is almost the cost of a set of budget coilovers, people ask me if it's worth it. Yes, it is worth it. I know that it's a considerable amount of money, but the performance and comfort that you're getting for this price is worth it. You don't want to cheap out on coilovers, because I did the first time I bought coilovers and I regret it significantly. Save up for a little bit longer. I know it's a significant amount of money, but your bum will thank you, your passengers will thank you, your girlfriend or wife will thank you, whatever. It's great. So again, to round up, what's good about the Pro Street? Well, significantly reduced body roll compared to the Pro Comforts. The compression and rebound, much more of what you would expect from a performance car. Or 3, it's a lot more comfortable compared to the Pro Sports without much compromise. So what's my pick? Definitely go for the Pro Streets. MCA have great customer service. They've got great information. They're very helpful. They're always willing to help out. Just give them a call, send them an email. They're very knowledgeable. Do yourself a favor, pick up a set of MCAs. Do it once, do it right. Thanks MCA for supporting the channel. As always, thanks to you guys for watching. Stay tuned for some more cool videos.